Good morning. The date is October 11th, 2016. My name is Jacob Fry. I'm the chair of this committee, which is the Community Development and Regulatory Services Committee. We have 13 items on the agenda for today, and I am joined by council members Warsami, Reich, Quincy, and Kano. On the consent agenda are items 7 through 13. However, I will be pulling item number 7 as well as 10. So I'm going to go through the items that will not be pulled, and I will immediately move right after, which will be number 8, which is Quan's Chinese cuisine and it's an operating conditions. Item number 9, which is a rental dwelling license and stipulated agreement for 1717 to 1719 26th Avenue North. Item number 11, which is amending the Fairview Health Services Bond and a passage of resolution authorizing execution of amendments to revenue bond documents for Fairview Health Services. Item number 12 is 2015 Emergency Solutions Grant for capital recommendations and approving the reallocation of up to $98,563,000 in 2015 Emergency Solutions Grant funds for the Bridge for Youth, which is $71,463, and First Covenant Church at $27,100. And then item number 13, which is amendment to property assessed clean energy, PACE energy financing resolution for Fortiva Investments, 1830 East 35th Street. Would anyone like to either comment or pull the remaining items, which again would be 8, 9, 11, 12, and or 13? Seeing no one wants to pull anything, and there is no. Councilmember Reich.
Just a quick clarification on item 2. This does not pertain to the issue in terms of clarification on benefiting the city of Minneapolis vis-a-vis poll tabs and that sort of thing.
No, it does not. We're keeping 7 out for right now, which would have.
So that's a separate action.
It would be a separate action.
Okay,
correct.
Thanks for the clarification.
Absolutely. So I will go ahead and move approval of items 8, 9, 11, 12, and 13. All those in approval, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. And those consent items have been passed. Item number 7 is Licenses Consumer Services Agenda. And I understand, Mr. Wilson, you have a couple comments with regard to the gambling license for Bunny's Bar and Grill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the number 7, the items for general licenses recommended for approval, we have one marked on page 28, item 209, that is marked for approval, and I would like to move that from marked as approved to no recommendation until some additional paperwork can come in before the council meeting a week from Friday. That item relates to the St. Louis Hockey Boosters charitable gambling permit.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. And just to provide additional clarification here, whenever you get a gambling license, there needs to be some charitable benefit directly to the city of Minneapolis. So we're just trying to decipher the percentage of benefit to the city of Minneapolis versus St. Louis Park. There's not a rejection or decline during this meeting. We're simply forwarding it without recommendation to the full council meeting, which will happen next Friday. And we should be able to get all the additional information that we need by then, and I'm sure everything will check out. But we did want to make sure of it. So I will go ahead and move all items for approval, with the exception of the one, which is, Mr. Wilson, what number is that again?
Mr. Chair, that is item 209 on page 28.
So with the exception of item number 209, which will be forwarded without recommendation for this Friday. Any further comment or discussion on that topic? Councilmember Reich.
I think this raises a broader question about our policies and making it very clear that if you're going to operate in the city of Minneapolis, it shouldn't be some benefit, it should be benefit. But that's a broader policy conversation that I think this is prompting. So I don't want the specific to trip into the general right away, but I think it has prompted a conversation. So thank you.
Thank you, council member. Any further comment or discussion? Seeing none to that motion, all in approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no, and that item passes. Item number 10 are a series of applications for environmental grant funding in the fall of 2016 Brownfield Grant Round. And it involves both deed funding, Met Council funding, as well as Hennepin County. And I would like to have, I believe, Ms. Brennan or Angie come on up to give us a quick rundown specifically on the item we previously discussed involving Park 7.
Chairman Fry, members of the committee, Angie Skildum, Manager of Residential Finance in CPED. Your question is related to the Park 7 project.
That's correct.
Staff believes that at this time, these funding sources are available twice a year on a regular schedule, and staff believes at this time that this project is on a timeline such that it can wait for a future round.
Okay, and if we wait for a future round, that means we can infill that allocated funding to somebody else, and then hopefully Park 7 would get it at a future period of time. Is that right?
Chairman Fry, members of the committee, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. So you should have a motion in front of you, which is simply to move. Well, any further questions for Angie? What's your last name again? I'm sorry.
Skildum.
I know your by your first name, Ms. Skildum.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Ms. Skildum? No. So there's a motion in front of you, which is to move to amend the report by deleting Park 7, 615 South 7th Street, 714 Park Ave South from the Metropolitan Council's Tax Base Revitalization Account, TBRA, and Hennepin County Environmental Response Fund, ERF, grant program recommendations. Any further discussion or comment on that particular item? I'm going to move this motion first before I move the rest. Yeah. All those in approval, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. That item passes. I will then move to approve the remaining items from item number 10. Does anybody have any questions or further questions for staff or further comment? Seeing none, all those in approval, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. And that item passes. Moving to item number 1 on our agenda, which is the property assessed clean energy financing for 3800 Nicollet Avenue South. Here to present is Ms. Shaw.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my
Mercer.
name is Miles Mercer with the Business Development Group at CPED. Unfortunately, my colleague Becky Shaw is sick today, so I'm filling in for her. This action is seeking your support for a resolution to levy an assessment for property assessed clean energy, part of our property assessed clean energy program, the PACE program that provides financing for clean energy improvements to property. This particular action is for a property at 3800 Nicollet Avenue South, a commercial building, mixed-use building that will be installing a reinforced roof and an array of solar panels. This financing will be an amount of approximately $110,000 and will be paid back by the property assessments levied on the property. This is a program that we administer, the city administers in cooperation with the St. Paul Port Authority through a joint powers agreement. And the reason we need to have a public hearing is because it involves property assessments. So staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Mercer. Are there any questions for Mr. Mercer on this topic? Thank you. So on item number 1 for property assessed clean energy financing, do we have a motion? Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Councilmember. I'd like to move approval of item number 1, PACE financing.
Councilmember Quincy has moved approval of item number 1. Is there any further discussion on that item? Seeing none, all those in approval, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. That item passes. Item number 2 is for Bunny's Bar and Grill Restaurant Northeast. And Mr. Wilson.
Mr. Chair, we have an application for an on-sale liquor license Class E with Sunday sales by Robin 77 Incorporated. Their trade name is Bunny's Bar and Grill Northeast, to be located at 34 13th Avenue Northeast. This is in the Grainbelt Brewery Complex. Recently, this address was the location of the Community Keg House, which also held an on-sale beverage alcohol license from November 2015 to June of 2016. This area is in the Sheridan neighborhood in the 3rd Ward The land is zoned industrial. The Office of the Zoning Administrator has determined that because of a parking variance granted in 2004, parking requirements were greatly reduced from a requirement for the building of 54 spaces to 32 spaces. Since that 2004 variance for this building, the parking requirements for sit-down restaurants without live entertainment was reduced by ordinance as well. So the applicant's portion of off-street parking for this site has been determined to be 12 spaces. This building has 48 spaces off-street parking on site. Bunny's Bar and Grill will have interior seating for 120 persons. They will have no exterior seating. They intend to have hours of operation from 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. daily. Robin 77 Incorporated is a Minnesota company. The owners are Stephen Koch and Gary Rackner. Gary will be the manager of Bunny's Bar and Grill Northeast. Mr. Rackner owns Bunny's in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, with Mr. Cook. Bunny's Bar and Grill Northeast will be a full-service restaurant, and they will offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Because this is a license upgrade from an on-sale wine and beer license to an on-sale liquor and beer license, a public hearing is required. Notices of this public hearing we're holding today were sent to all residents and property owners within 600 feet of this establishment. Notices were also sent to the Sheridan Neighborhood Association and the Beltrami Neighborhood Council. We have received 9 responses from that public hearing notification process. All are opposed. All believe that the parking requirements for this intended use will not suffice for the intended customer base. They're also worried about additional security this will require for the area and additional noise that an establishment like this may create. We have reviewed this application carefully. We believe they meet all of our requirements, and the staff's recommendation on this application is that it be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Are there any questions for staff at this point in time? Mr. Wilson, what is the criteria that we go forward for determining adequate amount of parking and noise that isn't surpassed at a certain level and security?
Mr. Chair, when reviewing an application like this, the zoning department does the calculation for us on the parking. They, because of the opposition we were receiving from the public hearing notice, they double-checked the parking requirements, made sure that that the numbers were correct on that, and they do have a very low parking requirement because of all restaurants in industrial zoned areas have a very low parking requirement unless they have a nightclub level license and provide live entertainment. This applicant is not intending to do that, and so their requirement surfaced at 12 spaces. This particular premises is a great distance from actual residential dwellings. It's also protected by the Grainbelt Brewery or separated from the neighborhood by the Grainbelt Brewery complex itself. Also the river and by Broadway Avenue itself. So in reviewing all of those factors, we used all of those factors to prepare our recommendation today, and that is that it be recommended for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Any further questions for staff? Seeing none, I will open the public hearing. Anybody here to speak to item number 2, Bunny's Bar and Grill Northeast, approving for an on-sale liquor with Sunday sales Class C license? Anyone? Nope. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and go ahead and move approval of this item. I do understand the concerns. We'll make sure to keep a close eye on it, but simultaneously, all of the information is checked out, and staff has done quite a bit of research, and I think they've met the conditions. So I'll go ahead and move approval of this item. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. That item passes. For item number 1, which was the property assessed clean energy financing for 3800 Nicollet. Is there anybody here to speak on that item? I forgot to open the public hearing, and I will do so now. So I will open the public hearing. Anybody here to speak? Anybody here to speak? Seeing none, I will close that public hearing. Item number 3 is Cooks of Crocus Hill, 208 North 1st Street. Mr. Wilson.
Mr. Chair, we have an application by Cooks of Crocus Hill, LLC, doing business as Cooks of Crocus Hill, for an on-sale liquor license with Sunday sales, Class E, to be used in conjunction with a cooking school. It'll be located at 208 North 1st Street in downtown Minneapolis. This site was previously occupied by a restaurant and grocery doing business as Local Delish, and they operated there since 2008. This is in the North Loop neighborhood in the 3rd Ward. It is zoned B4S, real common downtown zoning. They intend to have seating for at least 30 persons inside, and no outdoor area is listed. They will have hours of operation from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Sundays. Owners are Carrie Benson and Marie Dwyer. They operate 3 other Cooks of Crocus Hill locations in St. Paul, Edina, and Stillwater. Because this site has never held an on-sale beverage alcohol license before, a public hearing is required. 153 notices were mailed to residents and property owners within 400 feet of this premises. We also notified the North Loop Neighborhood Association, the Downtown Minneapolis Neighborhood Association, and the Warehouse District Business Association. As of today, we received no responses from that notification process. Staff's review finds this application meets all of our requirements, and staff's recommendation is that the application be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Any further questions for staff at this time? Seeing none, I will open the public hearing for Cooks of Crocus Hill at 208 North 1st Street. Anybody here to speak to this item? Anybody here to speak to this item? Anyone here? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and go ahead and move item number 3, Cooks of Crocus Hill, forward. I'm really excited about this one. It's in the North Loop. I don't know a heck of a lot about this business, but from what I've read, it's coming along quite well. We're thrilled to have you. Any further comment on that motion? Seeing none, all those in approval, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no, and that item passes. Item number 4 is Mercury Dining Room and Shindig Events over at 505 South Marquette Street. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We do have an application by Mercury Dining Room and Rail LLC, doing business as Mercury Dining Room and Shindig Event Center. They're to be located at 505 Marquette Avenue in downtown Minneapolis. They are seeking an on-sale liquor license with Sunday sales, Class B, and a sidewalk cafe. This location has been somewhat similarly licensed in the past by Brasserie Zentral, and they operated at this location for the past 2 years. This is downtown west. It's in the 7th Ward. This restaurant will have seating for 295 persons inside and 18 persons outside on the sidewalk cafe. They'll have operating hours 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. Monday through Sunday. The applicant principals are David Burley and Stephanie Shimp. These owners have extensive experience in owning and operating restaurants and liquor establishments, including locally the Longfellow Grill, the Lowry, and the Free House, since as early as 2005. The applicant, this application requires a public hearing because the applicant is seeking a slightly higher level of live entertainment allowed. We did notify all residents and property owners within 400 feet of this address, and we also notified the Downtown Minneapolis Neighborhood Association and the Warehouse District Business Association of today's public hearing and of this application. We received no responses for or against this application. They meet all of our requirements, and staff's recommendation is that it be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Any further questions for staff? Seeing none, I will first note that this is the only item that's not, of the 5 that are there, this is the only one that's not in the 3rd Ward, and this is right across the street. So I'm also thrilled to have this one as well, but let's have a public hearing first. I'll open the public hearing. Anybody here to speak to this item? Anybody here to speak to this item? Anybody here to speak to this item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing on Mercury Dining Room and Shindigs Event Center at 505 South Marquette Avenue. Councilmember Reich.
I move approval.
Councilmember Reich has moved approval of item number 4. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in approval, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no, and that item passes. Item number 5 is Red Savoy Pizza at 2329 Hennepin Avenue. Mr. Wilson.
Mr. Chair, we do have an application by Savoy Minneapolis LLC doing business as Red Savoy Pizza, and this is a new proprietor application for an existing restaurant operating under the same trade name. They are seeking an on-sale wine with strong beer license Class E, with a sidewalk cafe, also a late-night food license, and a food catering license. This location has been occupied by the Savoy Pizza previous owners since January of 2010, and other restaurants occupied the space prior to that. This is in the Lowry Hill East neighborhood, Ward 10. The new owners are Michael Meents and Jason Bloomquist. Mr. Mentz and Mr. Bloomquist are owners of 3 other Red Savoy Pizza restaurants in Eagan, Burnsville, and Edina. Today's public hearing is really only required for the late hours food license that they are seeking. We notified all residents and property owners within 300 feet of this application, and the East Isles Neighborhood Group, Lowry Hill East, and South Hennepin Business Association. We received 1 response from that notification process, and it was in support of this application. Staff is recommending that the application be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Any further questions for staff on this topic? Seeing none, I will go ahead and open the public hearing for Red Savoy Pizza at 2329 Hennepin Avenue. Anybody here to speak to this item? Awesome. Come on up.
Chairman and ladies and gentlemen of the council or committee, I would just like, my name is Mike Tingham. I'm an attorney representing Savoy MPLS LLC, and I would just like to clarify that it also includes the optional 2 a.m. liquor license, which we've submitted some paperwork for as well.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson, is that included?
Yes, that is included.
Anybody else would like to speak to it? Come on up. State your name and address, please.
My name is Amy Smith. My address is 1107 West 24th Street. I am the property owner directly across the street from Red Savoy. And I'm here to speak against this, and not in any way because these have been bad neighbors in the past. That's not the case. My concern is that this is going into a residential area. There is a duplex right across the street, which I own. There are 8 units right next door. There are apartments right across the street in Valvoline above that 2nd floor. Those are all residential. Right across the street above Autopia, also all residential. A brand new building right next door to that, an additional 30 units, all residential. This is a residential area that has a business. It's close to Hennepin Avenue, absolutely. My concern is that extending the timing is going to create a disturbance as we see people who are coming from downtown where they've had a good time and hopefully they've had probably some beer. And they're going to be coming back because this is the place that's going to be open. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, what I'm going to see is an additional number of people who are throwing up in my front yard, who are coming over and parking at 10 p.m. and leaving their car right in front of my driveway. So that when I get out and try to go and get a pizza myself, or perhaps go and visit a friend or go to work, my driveway is blocked. And by the time I call the city, I have to wait an hour for them to come. I've missed my meeting. This happens multiple times a day. I walk into Red Savoy probably 3 or 4 times a week to see if there's somebody there who can remove a vehicle. Now, I'll tell you that these employees have been perfectly courteous to me. There's no issue with the business of any case. My concern is that already the amount of trash that I am picking up that comes from Red Savoy is enormous. I could go out at 8 in the morning and pick up trash for an hour, come back at noon and there'd be more. Again, this is not the fault of the business. This is the inherent nature of it. And what we're asking is for people to go downtown, have a good time, and spend money. and I get that. But we close liquor sales at a certain period of time, and they're going to go look for food. They're not capable of driving. They're going to take an Uber back to my house or one of the houses right nearby me, and they're going to get in their vehicles where the police are not ringed around, and they're going to drive home, and there's going to be accidents. In the last few weeks, I've had people run into all of the vegetation in front of my house, moving bricks. I have people who are running into the fence on the side. This is a concern already when they're working during the day. When we add in the effects of what happens on the weekends, late into the middle of the night, into a residential neighborhood, I have extreme concern.
Thank you. I do appreciate that commentary. So with respect to the trash especially, which I think is a very legitimate concern, especially if you're out there the morning after a late night picking up trash for an hour or so, do we have some form of trash and or garbage management plan that you guys would be authoring up? I would actually. Yeah, if you could come up, that'd be great.
Ladies and gentlemen of the committee, we have put together a business plan which was approved by the police department, and in that it contains several provisions relating to management of the outdoor area, specifically relating to the sidewalk cafe plan. It more so touches on noise management, nothing specific to the picking up of garbage. That is something that could be added as an addendum to the business plan to put that in there. And under the new management and new ownership, that's something that they would address and take care of. Just being the new buyers of this business, they are not aware of all these complaints that are being made, and that's something that they wouldn't stand for. They're running 3 other businesses without such complaints being made right now, and they're taking care of their property. Furthermore, it's my understanding that they're open currently until the 3 a.m. time, or they have been open till 3 a.m. without the license, and we haven't received any specific notification of complaints regarding to that. It's my understanding that they were doing so without the proper license here, and that's why we're having this hearing here today. But there wasn't any major issues with that that were addressed or brought up to me prior to this hearing regarding that. So, thank you.
Can I respond?
Thank you. Yes, you may.
You might as well stay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I, as a property owner right across, I can really appreciate a new person coming in and saying they'll do better. So I'm happy to hear that. My concern is you can pick up trash, but who's going to pick up the puke that's on my front yard, right? That's a huge, disgusting issue. As far as being open later, right now, the patio does close. I believe it's either at 10 or 11 p.m. And I can tell you that because every night I hear a loud chain that connects all of the chairs and all the things that they need to protect. So right now, that exterior space is not open during that time. So if we're making a change to that, again, I have concern about people who are out there. My biggest concern, one, I want to be able to park in my driveway. 2, when I drove over here today, there were 2 people arguing, completely intoxicated, and they're sitting at Red Savoy. It's been out there for probably an hour. I almost called the police. The reason I'm not calling in complaints to you is because I think this is a police issue. So I call 911. And if you look at some of those records, you'll see that there are numerous calls about trying to get cars removed. They're all in Red Savoy. It's just where it's coming from. So my big concern would be making sure I can still get into my driveway. Is there a signage option? Something that can say, hey, this is a private space. And then again, just the grossness that's going to be happening. I want to know what the police and the management is going to be as we're inviting people to consume beverages in the neighborhood in a residential area.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
respond directly.
You know, I don't want to make it a back and forth. If there's something specific that you have to address, like, and make a quick point, and then we'll finish it up.
One specific thing, we do not plan on changing the hours of the sidewalk cafe area. That will shut down at the same times as we're previously operating. It's just that they will be serving food inside until 3 a.m.
Thank you. Anybody else want to speak to this item? Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Mr. Wilson, what would some form of condition look like that would ensure an adequate cleanup after bar close so that this individual is not picking up trash and puke in the morning.
Mr. Chair, I should have clarified that their request is for 3 a.m. service on the interior only. Their exterior hours have to end at 10 p.m. during the week and 11 p.m. on the weekend, so it is only that.
Okay.
And they are already subject to Minneapolis code that requires them to pick up all litter and debris within 100 feet of their premises. An example we could use to condition that is that we have them police litter within 200 feet within all areas of their premises within 1 hour of close each evening, 7 days a week.
You said 1 or 200. Which one?
I'm not sure how far the public speaker's property is away, but so maybe 200 feet would probably suffice.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. So I will amend Councilmember Reich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just to follow up, is there anything that could be included through this action that would encourage maybe an enhancement to their security plan, or is that a separate set of considerations?
Mr. Chair, Councilmember Reich, at this time I don't have a recommendation on that. I would like to point out that this isn't an annually issued license with respect to late hours, and it does get reviewed annually. If that suffices, we can see how they operate for the remainder of this warm weather season and review it then. If not, I'd be happy to hold this item over and review the security plan for late night with them and bring this back in another cycle.
Yeah. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've had an opportunity to work with businesses similar in my ward, and one of the conditions we were able to put on, and I'm sure it's something that hopefully amenable to both positions, would be to provide contact information if there's specific complaints to the property owners within the 300 feet of the area, that they would be able to contact that person directly for complaints. But, and I'd like to add, as before a motion is made for the approval of the license with conditions, I'd like to add that condition that there'd be contact information. So things like security concerns, garbage and related issues, as well as operations, whether it be noise, patio hours, can be addressed directly with the property management and the residents. I also, separate to this action, it's not a condition that we can apply. I always encourage people to call the Minneapolis Police Department when they have concerns that we should be investigating. Make this a police concern if you'd like to see traffic, noise, other kinds of nuisance conditions. This is what the city can do, and we are always open to that. But those are my comments. I hope we can accommodate the condition requests that I've made.
Thank you, Councilmember Quincy. I think we can accommodate those requests. I think they're fair from both Councilmember Reich as well as Councilmember Quincy. So I'm going to amend to add conditions allowing or requiring a policing of litter within 200 feet of the locale of the business, as well as having a specific contact that's available for other property owners as well as the city to address security concerns, garbage, etc. Does that reflect your desire there? And Council, it looked like you had something to say there, Mr. Wilson. Nothing?
No, sir, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So with those amendments, I will move. With those amendments and new conditions, I will move approval of item number 5, Red Savoy Pizza at 2329 Hennepin Avenue. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say no, and that item passes. The final item is item number 6, which is Restaurant Alma at 528 University Avenue Southeast. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Alma Tierra, Inc., doing business as Restaurant Alma, located at 528 University Avenue Southeast, is seeking an on-sale liquor license Class E with Sunday sales and a permanent expansion of premises to add additional interior seating. This restaurant is currently licensed with an on-sale wine and strong beer license, Class E. Restaurant Alma has operated with an on-sale wine and beer license at this location since 1999. In addition to upgrading from wine to on-sale liquor, they'd like to add 3 new shareholders and expand the interior seating from 80 persons to a total of 140. This is in the Marcy Homes neighborhood, Ward 3. It is Zone C1, which is Commercial 1. Again, this interior seating will be for 140 persons. They intend to operate from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and from 7 a.m. to midnight Friday and Saturday. Alexander Roberts is the principal owner of this business, and he will also serve as the business's manager. And he has operated this business for many years. This upgrade and license requires a public hearing. We did notify all residents and property owners within 600 feet of this premises. We also notified the Marcy Homes Neighborhood Association and the Northeast Minneapolis River District of today's public hearing. As of today, we've received no responses for or against the application. It appears to meet all of the requirements of our ordinances, and staff's recommendation is that you approve the application.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Wilson? Seeing none, I will open the public hearing. Anyone here to speak to this item? Please come on up and state your name.
My name is Julie Ann Neal, and I live at 600 University Avenue Southeast. I've lived there for 7 years, and granted I rent, but I have no intention of moving, and if I did move, I would only move a few hundred feet. In the past, Restaurant Alma has only served fine dining, so with a beer and liquor license, there's little chance of any altercations in the neighborhood, and it formerly was occupied by a coffee shop, which closed at 9 on the weekday, 10 on weekdays and 9 on weekends. It's an all residential area, aside from a convenience store kitty corner. Used to be all free on-street parking, and now they've installed parking meters just on the block next to Restaurant Alma. I can now see into Restaurant Alma, and I see that in the space, it's occupied with a very large bar with no apparent room in that area for seating. I'm just concerned that with the move to full liquor license, there's more possibility for people going there to drink as opposed to with a fine dining restaurant where the wine is, or the beer is just a highlight of the meal and not the main focus. Recently, there's been new management of Sarna's, the convenience store kitty corner, to allow for hookah smoking, and I've noticed an increase in disturbances and noise after 10 as people come and go from this establishment. And I'm just concerned that we could have further difficulties with a change of liquor license at Restaurant Alma.
Thank you. Any further comments? Mr. Roberts, please give us some of that big vision.
Hello, everyone. Mr. Chair. I really appreciate the comments today and certainly very sensitive to them as an operator. Our intention with the operation of the expanded business is very much like our intention with operating Restaurant Alma, which we have for the last 16 years. It is to be a fine dining establishment, albeit the new side of the cafe is an a la carte format that includes full liquor as well as wine and beer. We are a restaurant first organization and expect really every person coming in to be dining with us, and that the alcohol is just one more element in terms of providing good service in terms of variety and selection. We have not had any history of disorderly customers or anything like that over our entire history, and we intend to keep the same record moving forward. In terms of our bar area, our bar is 13 seats. Surrounding the bar are additional 48 seats of sit-down full-service dining, and by the windows for people who are traveling to catching the bus to grab a cup of coffee or to grab a snack or something like that. We have another 8-9 seats by the entryway as well. The bar area will also serve as a waiting area for the restaurant as well. So,
Mr. Roberts, can you state your address as well for the record?
The address of the restaurant or my
Your
personal?
personal
My
address.
personal address is 527 5th Street Southeast.
So you live
2
like a
blocks
block.
away
You live
from-
2 blocks away.
2 blocks away from
Okay.
Restaurant Alma as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anyone further that would like to testify or speak to this item? Anyone further? Anyone further? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, move approval of this item, noting that Mr. Roberts has had several what have become institutions in both Northeast as well as Southeast Minneapolis, or on the border of, I guess, Northeast. And I live about a block and a half away from one of them, and the service, as well as the respect that provided to the community on behalf of institutions like Brasa and Alma have been really extraordinary. So, I hope you continue investing in the neighborhood. I hope you continue investing in the city because it is hugely appreciated, and I have no doubt that the concerns that she mentioned will certainly be addressed. And, very happily move approval of this item. Councilmember Reich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's good news to hear that there'll be these affordable options. I won't have to wait till my birthday to go to Alma now. So.
Any further comment on that motion? Seeing none, all those in approval, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. And that item has passed. Seeing as there are no further items on the agenda, we are adjourned.